Let's do a lesson for Math 1095. This is on the bottom of page 44 through the top of 45, and it's about compounded interest. And compounded interest is kind of neat in that the interest that you earn from 1 year automatically gets deposited back into the account, and so then the next year you have more money working at that same interest rate, and then for the third year, the interest just keeps adding in there rather than coming out to you at the end of each year or just being calculated at the end of the time period. So you're at the beginning of each year. Now we're going to do a problem on page 45 a little bit later. There's another video explaining how the compounded interest works if it's done on a quarterly or a semi-annual basis, but there's this one formula talked about here on the bottom of page 44 that I understand has kind of thrown some students for a loop. All right, so let's talk about some of the parts of this. P is principal. So principal is the amount of money that is getting put into the savings account at the beginning. Okay, so that's the money you start with is the principal. The B here is the balance, which means the money in the account at the end of the time period. Now this is just the number 1, okay? And then the R is the rate. Now here it says 7%, but we don't add 1 plus 7 to get 8, okay? We have to turn this into a decimal. I'll show you how we do that in just a minute. Make sure you have a calculator handy, by the way, for this problem. That's very important. And then the T up here, this exponent, is the time in years. Okay, so let me grab my calculator. Mine's on my phone here. So we're going to first take the 7% and we write it as 0.07, okay? And we're going to plug that in right here. So 500 parentheses, and I'm going to add 1 plus 0.07, so that gives me 1.07. And then the exponent is 3, because that is the time in years. Now here's what we have to do. When you have an exponent, we have to solve that part first, and your calculator may have a button that does x to the second power, x to the third power, but let's talk about what it means. Anything to a power means you take the base times itself that many times. All right, so this is not hard to do, especially with a calculator. All right, we're going to plug in 1.07 times 1.07. Now we've only done it twice, so I'm going to do it one more time, times 1.07 equals. And so in my calculator here, I have 1.22503, all right, times 500. Now don't go rounding this off, okay? You might be tempted to say, oh, I can round that off to 1.2. No. All right, this is very important that we carry this out as far as the calculator will let it go. And now we'll take that big number times 500, and I get 612.5215. Now we can round it off because money does not go out to 4 decimal places, right? So when we're doing dollars and cents, we would round this off to right here, 2 decimal places, so $612.52. And I think that's the problem that was on the illustration on the bottom of page 44. All right, so we just kind of walked through to show you how they did that. Let's look at a problem now on the next page, and I just want to get you started on this one, and then I want you to finish it. All right, but again, keep your calculator handy. This is the P, so let's plug this in first. 2550 parentheses. We're going to do 1 plus, how do we turn that into a decimal? Remember, we can turn any percent into a decimal by moving the decimal twice to the left. So cha-ching, cha-ching, so 0.0325. And now the exponent here is going to be 4 because it's 4 years. So let's simplify this. 0.0325. We want to keep all of those decimals. That's very important. Don't round it off. All right, so get your handy calculator out. 1.0325. And now we're going to multiply times 1.0325. And then do it a third time, times 1.0325. And then we have to do it a fourth time. 1.0325 equals. Wow, that is a big number, okay? So I'm going to write down what I have, and you see if your calculator matches at 1.136477592816. Woo! Now it's possible your calculator doesn't go out quite that far. Maybe yours only does 8-digit. You have plenty of digits there, okay? Just leave it on the screen, because now we can take that number and multiply it times the P, the principal, the amount that we put in, and then when you get your final answer, then you round it to 2 decimal places since it's money. Okay, so hopefully that clarifies these steps. We first have to add the percent as a decimal to the number 1. And then we'll use our calculator to raise it to the exponent of the number of years. So we multiply this times itself, times itself, times itself, times itself 4 times for this problem. And then take that big number times the principal that was invested. So again, it's not a formula that you have to necessarily understand where they're getting those from. They're just getting you used to the idea that formulas can be a powerful tool. And you just plug in a couple of numbers, use your calculator, solve it, and you have the answer. All right? We'll see you in the next video on how to figure out compounded interest if they compound it more than once per year. Okay?